One of our feet slipped through the shimmering portal like a toe brushing the surface of a silent lake at dawn. In that moment, the world changed its breath. Before us towered Herg, the magnificent dragon, the eternal guardian, father of the 5 great dragons. He stood like a mountain carved from night itself, radiating the heavy presence of a forgotten kami. The sight of him stole the air from my lungs, awe and fear intertwining like tangled reeds in a river current. Behind us, the portal sealed shut with a sound that reminded me of a shoji door sliding closed on a cold winter night, quiet, decisive, irreversible. My heart tightened. We were trapped in Herg's realm, a domain where human footsteps were as fragile as sakura petals caught in a storm. His scales reflected the dim light like lacquered armor, each one etched with age, wisdom, and scars from wars older than human memory. My previous meetings with him had been like walking beneath a thundercloud, charged with danger, every word a gamble. "Allow me to speak, Timothy," I murmured, my voice barely a thread of sound drifting through the air like incense smoke. I stepped forward, bowing my head in instinctive respect to the fallen god. This was no mere creature. He was a force woven into the fabric of the world, a presence that demanded humility. "I come not for vengeance, Herg," I said, steadying my breath as if preparing for a tea ceremony, "but for the fulfillment of a bond, one born from hope that goes beyond my own heart. Hope for this boy." Timothy's love was stolen unjustly, torn away like a cherry blossom plucked before its bloom. And the killer walks unpunished on the other side of your world. Timothy moved closer, his step small but resolute. The enormity of Herg overwhelmed him. The dragon's shadow fell upon him like the shadow of an ancient pagoda, vast and consuming. Each movement of Herg's colossal form stirred the air like the wings of a storm crow. "Eden, god of man," Herg's voice rumbled. It was the sound of temple drums echoing through mountain valleys, deep and resonant. "You know well that no human from Earth may enter its twin, especially not in pursuit of death." His pale blue eyes, blind yet swirling like winter seas, fixed on me with an unspoken accusation. They carried a weight that could make even a seasoned samurai falter. I bowed lower, searching for words that might soften the edge of his judgment. But Timothy stepped forward before I could gather my thoughts, his voice igniting like a spark falling onto dry rice paper. "He crossed before I did," he cried. "He broke your laws. He took everything from me. Let me be the blade that brings justice." Herg lowered his immense head, the motion-stirring wind strong enough to feel like the first breath of a typhoon. Up close, the scars on his ancient face resembled old rivers on a weathered map, each one a memory carved by centuries. "Very well," Herg thundered. His breath washed over us with the force of winter wind rushing down from Mount Fuji. "But you must bring me his head." With a powerful strike of his talon, the ground split open like cracking ice. A new portal blossomed beneath us, dark, swirling, hungry. A rift to another world. Timothy's eyes flickered with the chaos of conflicting emotions, anticipation, fear, doubt. A young heart torn between justice and the abyss. I could see the storm forming within him. I wanted vengeance for Grace, my daughter whose memory lingered like incense in an empty shrine, but not the path of senseless bloodshed. Still, I stepped forward. Duty pulled at me like the invisible strings of fate. The portal swallowed us whole. Darkness stretched in every direction, a void without horizon, without breath. When consciousness returned, we were separated by the veil of existence itself. Timothy stood transformed. No longer the young man I had walked beside, but an 11-year-old boy with white hair as soft as fallen snow. His black Japanese uniform fit him like the attire of a wandering warrior. An eye patch covered his right eye, marked with a symbol unknown to me, mysterious as U-ray calligraphy. He looked down at his hands, wonder igniting in his eyes. "Eden, look. Look at me," he exclaimed, his voice carrying the innocence of a spring breeze despite the winter path before him. But he could not see me. "My essence is here with you, Timothy," I whispered into his mind, like the distant chime of a Suzu bell. But I was not granted a physical form. He turned slowly, confusion drawing soft lines across his face. "Why didn't he give you a body?" he asked. A quiet laugh slipped from me, gentle, bittersweet. The answer was as clear as moonlight on still water. But that was a story for another time. "We don't share the best past," I murmured, my voice slipping out like a single trembling note on a broken koto string. Timothy steps unsteadily until he finds himself standing beneath a colossal tree, so vast it seemed to pierce the heavens like a celestial pillar. Its bark shimmered faintly, reminiscent of an ancient sugi tree touched by moonlight, its roots twisting across the soil like the coiled tail of a slumbering dragon. Around us stretched an otherworldly rainforest, lush and alive in a way Earth never could be. The creatures here moved with a grace that defied mortal logic. Birds, brilliant as painted ukiyo-e prints, glided effortlessly through the air, floating on invisible currents as though the sky itself were a gentle lover cradling them. The ground beneath our feet felt softer than tatami mats woven from clouds, and every breath filled our chests with crisp, invigorating life, like inhaling mountain air at the break of dawn. The trees surrounding the giant behemoth seemed strangely twisted, as if an unseen kami had wrung them playfully like damp cloth after rainfall, leaving them bent in crooked, dreamlike forms. Timothy's eyes widened, reflecting the shimmering greens and golds of this enchanted forest. Above, the sky stretched in a serene wash of azure, clouds suspended delicately as if placed there by a meticulous calligrapher, every shape balanced, every streak measured. I felt the gentle shift in Timothy's spirit. His body relaxed, his heart softened. To him, this world felt like a sanctuary, a place untouched by sorrow, a place where his earthborn grief could melt away like morning frost beneath the sun. But he did not yet understand the truth. This paradise carried consequences deeper than any shadow cast on earth. We wandered deeper into the forest, and time slipped through our fingers like river water. Hours folded into one another as we admired the vibrant flora, the luminous flowers, the curious creatures peeking from behind moss-covered stones. There was wonder in every corner, until wonder soured into unease. Slowly, disorientation crept upon us like a cold wind sneaking beneath a kimono sleeve. We passed the tree, then passed it again, and again. "Timothy," I whispered, a chill dancing along my thoughts. "I believe we're caught in a loop." Frustration sharpened his features. His fists clenched, knuckles turning pale like polished bone. He spun in frantic circles, left, right, north, south, his footsteps tracing desperate patterns on the damp earth. Yet each attempt, no matter how wild, guided him back to that same towering tree, standing like a shrine guardian refusing to let us go. Days blurred into weeks. Weeks melted into months. He lost his sense of time, drifting through the cycle like a lone pilgrim trapped in a sacred maze. Exhaustion finally pressed him down. He collapsed at the tree's roots, surrendering to slivers of restless sleep while I pleaded for him to stop. "Timothy, we've been walking for 505 days, I whispered, my voice trembling with worry. His fingers were torn, the skin cracked and bleeding like brittle parchment. His feet were bruised, each step a testament to stubborn resolve. Cuts decorated his arms like the strokes of an ink brush, messy, painful, telling a story of desperation. But he refused to listen. Rain poured in silver curtains. Storms raged like oni roaring from the mountains. Wild beasts stalked the darkened forest. Still he pressed forward, as though willingly binding himself to this cycle of suffering, an endless pilgrimage with no shrine at its end. On the final night, my patience frayed like worn silk threads. "Timothy, you cannot continue this. You're still human. Your body, your mind, cannot withstand this torment." He rolled his eyes, frustration flickering across his face like the shadow of a passing cloud. "I haven't eaten in 505 days, he snapped. "If I were human, I would have died back in the other world. Whatever humanity I had, it's long gone." His voice hardened, his resolve darker than a moonless sky. "Timothy, listen to me, this path you're on leads nowhere." But my words shattered against his rising fury. "Eden," he roared, his voice erupting like a thunderclap echoing through temple halls. His arms lashed out wildly as though he sought the face of a god hidden behind the clouds. "I won't stop until I find that monster. Until I bury him the way he buried Grace. I want him in the ground, his family, his hopes, his dreams, everything he holds dear. Let them all rot beneath the soil like he left her." His voice broke. He fell to his knees. The forest stilled, holding its breath. Desolation washed through him like winter winds sweeping across an empty shrine courtyard. He stared at his blooded hands, trembling. A realization dawned, not one of surrender, but of grim clarity. Stopping was impossible. To stop meant betraying the memory of the only light he ever cherished. Grace's image lingered in every corner of his mind, her smile flickering like a lantern flame struggling against the wind. Every moment of happiness that dared touch him withered beneath the weight of her memory, much like a cherry blossom wilting before its time. And in that moment, I understood the truth that haunted him. He believed that vengeance would free her spirit, that spilling blood would silence the ghosts in his heart, that digging another grave would ease the ache in his chest. But vengeance is a blade that cuts both hands of the one who wields it, and no amount of retribution could cleanse the sorrow he carried, or heal the wound where love once lived. The passage of time felt relentless, an unbroken march like the steady toll of a temple bell echoing over a mist-clad valley. Its rhythm dulled the edges of grief, wearing them down grain by grain, just as a river smooths the stones it carries. That was how he had slowly learned to live with his mother's death. Yet I refused to become another weight around his spirit, another stone pressed against an already aching heart. I would not shape his mourning with my own hands, nor tell him how to navigate emotions as turbulent as a typhoon crashing across a quiet coast. There had never been a single, proper path to solace, only winding trails through inner mountains that each soul must climb on its own. I couldn't command him to show mercy to the merciless. Such words would have rung hollow in this storm of his. But I could whisper truths older than any empire, that those who live without compassion eventually stand beneath the ceaseless rain of their own misdeeds. Like travelers caught in a sudden monsoon, their sins soak them through, clinging to their skin, their hearts, their memories until they shiver beneath the weight of what they have done. The merciless always face the consequences of the storms they themselves once unleashed. Those who stole Grace from her family would someday feel the downpour they had sown. But he no longer lived in a world where words carried meaning. His grief had become a deep winter, silent, opaque, and bitter. His desire for vengeance burned within that cold like a single candle in a snowbound shrine, small yet refusing to die. As he curled into himself, tears slipping into the cradle of his arms, I could feel the tempest beneath his skin, a roiling, unspoken disaster, like a volcano smothered under centuries of ash, waiting, trembling. Then a sound stirred him, rustling in the storm-darkened underbrush. It slithered through the forest shadows like a fox weaving between trees. At first he dismissed it as another creature seeking shelter from the cold night wind, but the tone of the sound. It was undeniably human, like the soft shuffle of sandals across temple grounds. He rose instantly, muscles taut, hand raised in warning. A small figure stepped out from the curtain of leaves. A boy, no older than 10. His white afro shimmered like frost catching the moonlight, and his skin glowed with the soft warmth of living embers, as though autumn sunlight had taken refuge beneath his flesh. His presence brightened the night, like a lantern set upon the path of a weary traveler. His eyes widened with wonder. "Are you from Seti? You have white hair just like my mother." Before Timothy could respond, the boy dashed toward him, circling him with delighted curiosity, like a child studying a mythical creature freshly leapt from an ink painting. His laughter was as light as wind chimes swaying on a summer veranda. I sensed something shift in Timothy's chest, a tender warmth blooming there, subtle yet unmistakable, like the first plum blossom daring to bloom at winter's end. "I haven't seen anyone from Seti except for my brother and the old lady," the boy chirped, nearly bouncing with excitement. He sprinted a few steps away, floating in his own joyous world, before halting abruptly and turning back with sudden seriousness. "You're coming with me. You have to walk a certain way to get out of here. It's a loop, and if you stay too long, it hurts. Like, a lot." Timothy hesitated only a moment before following. "Is this where we are, Seti?" The boy arched a brow, smirking. "Nah, silly. This is the Zoe's swimland. Seti's different. But don't worry, my brother knows everything about this place. We go to the city all the time." At my urging, Timothy nudged gently. "Where is the city?" The boy shrugged, carefree as a dragonfly skimming over water. "I dunno. Everything looks different on this side. I just follow issue. You can't see the city from here." "Oh, my name's Bodak." Timothy gave a soft chuckle, his first in what felt like an entire season. "Timothy," he continued, "what is issue like? You said it's a sky city." Bodak's face lit with understanding. "Oh right. You're from Seti's. You probably don't know anything about Issue and Zoe's." He raised his hands as if shaping a story from thin air. "Issue is the heavenly city. where everyone came from in the beginning. But then there was this one ruler, this one guy who started pushing people out of the floating city for the smallest sins. Talk back to a priest? Gone. Question the world's leaders? Gone. Steal a piece of candy? Boom, your whole family gets dropped down here. He laughed lightly, though there was a sorrowful truth layered beneath it. So the people down below made their own place, the Zoe's swimland. It's kinda messy, kinda crazy, but trust me, we're super happy here. You're gonna love it. They pushed through the last of the underbrush, leaves brushing their shoulders like a curtain being drawn aside. The forest opened into a clearing. A small house perched gracefully over a shimmering lagoon, its stilts rising like bamboo legs from the water. Lantern-warm lights flickered inside, casting soft golden ripples across the lagoon's surface. The glow danced upon the water like floating koi scales, beckoning them into a world entirely unlike the one they had left. A world waiting, quietly, warmly, for them to step forward. That's my home. Come on, the boy cried out, his voice bright as a temple bell struck at dawn. Without hesitation, he sprinted into the lagoon, the water parting around him in shimmering crescents of silver light. Each splash sounded like a quick brushstroke across a blank scroll, bold, spontaneous, alive. Timothy stood at the water's edge, the cold surface reflecting his uncertain expression like a polished obsidian mirror. His heart pounded, not from fear of what slept beneath the dark water, but from the vast, unknowable realm that awaited him beyond it. The lagoon was so still it resembled ink waiting for the first stroke of a calligrapher's brush. Crossing it meant committing himself to whatever story would be written next. Timothy, I whispered, my voice drifting to his ear like autumn wind passing through bamboo. If you want to find this man, you must follow the boy. He paused, glancing over his shoulder as if trying to find the outline of my face in the moonlight. Doubt flickered across him like the shadow of a hawk gliding over a rice field. And you're sure he's not going to try to kill me? A sigh escaped me, long, weighted, and soft, like the falling of the final sakura petal in spring. You can always turn back, Timothy. You do not have to choose this path as your fate. He closed his eyes. The world fell silent around him. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. I saw the battle etched within him, a storm twisting like a typhoon caught between mountains. He was growing stronger, his powers sharpening like a freshly forged katana. But strength in the hands of vengeance was a blade with its own will. I feared what devastation he might unleash if that blade slipped, whether by intention or by the trembling of a wounded heart. Would he strike at the one man he sought? Or would his fury spill outward, a tidal wave swallowing a whole city? These thoughts washed through me like winter rain seeping through worn paper walls, inevitable, chilling. Still, some quiet part of me knew, sometimes a soul must walk into its own storm to emerge whole again. Even if the storm demanded an offering. With a determined breath, Timothy rolled up his pants and stepped into the water. The lagoon's chill wrapped around his legs, rippling softly like silk stirred by a distant breeze. He followed the boy toward the stilt house rising above the shimmering surface like a lone shrine built to defy the tide. The wooden steps creaked beneath their weight as they ascended, each groan echoing as if the house itself judged their arrival. Inside, lantern light flickered on the walls, casting long shadows that swayed like restless spirits. A young man sat waiting, perhaps 22, yet his presence filled the room with the gravity of an old warrior. A tight blindfold wrapped around his eyes, its fabric worn like it had tasted both sweat and blood. In his hand rested a katana, held with the precision and ease of someone who had mastered the art of the blade. His white uniform, paired with brown armor plates, resembled the attire of a samurai preparing for an unseen battle. His skin shared Bodak's ember-like glow, but his locks fell loosely around his face like dark brushstrokes in an ink painting. Though blindfolded, he seemed to see everything, the subtle shift in air, the tremor in each heartbeat. His awareness was so sharp it felt as though he read the room by listening to the silence between breaths. You were supposed to be here around 6, before the lights came on, Bodak, he said. His irritation sliced through the room like the swift flick of a sword being unsheathed. He shifted his head toward me, and even without sight, I felt his attention pierce through me like the calm, deadly focus of a monk standing at the edge of enlightenment and violence. And who is this? I keep telling you, Bodak, to stop bringing home every stray soul you find out there. Bodak groaned loudly, rolling his eyes with dramatic annoyance. This is Timothy. He's a friend, a real friend, he insisted, stomping the floor hard enough to rattle the tatami mats. The older brother's aura thickened. The air itself felt heavier, like the moment before lightning strikes. "Go upstairs," he commanded, voice low and dangerous, calm in the way a coiled viper is calm. Bodak's fists tightened. Anger ignited within him like a spark catching dry grass. He lunged forward, his movement fueled by emotion rather than skill. But the blindfolded man shifted only a hair's breadth, effortless, fluid, like a crane sidestepping a falling branch. With a single, minimal motion, he caught Bodak's attack and threw him aside. The boy hit the wooden floor with a thud that made the lanterns tremble. Bodak scrambled to his feet, face burning with shame and fury, then bolted up the stairs, yelling incoherently with each pounding step. I remained frozen for a moment, the air still vibrating with tension, like the aftermath of a shamisen string plucked too sharply. The blindfolded man turned back toward me. His voice carried the stillness of deep water, yet beneath it churned something lethal. "I don't know what you are," he said, "but you don't glow like the others. Something about you is wrong. If you're a spirit or anything else, know this, I have the means to kill you." Timothy, feeling the room closing in like a tightening net, hurried upstairs after Bodak. "Your brother is a jerk," he muttered gently, attempting to cut the tension like a weak blade against stone. But Bodak exploded. "No, he is a dick!" he screamed, rage raw enough to make the lantern flames quiver. He stomped toward the door and slammed it shut behind him with a force that echoed through the stilt house like thunder rolling across distant mountains. "I'm sorry," Bodak huffed, exasperation slipping into his voice like steam escaping a cracked teapot. Sometimes he wants to act like this big bossy guy who knows everything about everything. He rolled his eyes with dramatic flourish, equal parts annoyance and affection. "I swear, it's because he doesn't have a girlfriend. He just sits by the water and stares at it like some lonely shrine keeper watching for ghosts." He bent down and picked up 2 toy action figures from the dusty floor. The toys clattered softly, their paint chipped and faded, their imperfections carrying a quiet wabi-sabi charm, beauty born from wear and time. "Yeah. Bodak, you said issue is how you get to Zoe's, right?" Timothy asked gently. Bodak plopped onto the floor with a dull thud softened by scattered toys. "Sounds boring," he announced, already engrossed in making the toys clash like tiny warriors reenacting an ancient battle. His voice was light, dismissive, like a summer breeze skimming across still water. "That child doesn't know anything. His wasting hour," I began sharply, but Timothy hushed me, lowering himself to the floor beside Bodak. The lantern light flickered over the scene like trembling fireflies, casting dancing shadows across the tatami. "Will, can you tell me a little about Zoe's and issue? Why is Zoe's on the ground?" Timothy asked, his voice carrying the careful reverence of someone asking a monk for a forbidden story. Bodak grinned, excitement flashing in his eyes like reflections of fireworks on river water. "Not much to tell," he said, but the thrill in his voice contradicted him. He clacked the toy figures together rhythmically, like a child imitating the echo of temple drums. "Zoe's is the underbelly of issue. We hunt, cook, farm, grow. But issues for a certain type of people." Timothy's brow folded in thought, memories rustling through his mind like pages stirred by an unseen wind. Then, something struck him. His family. Their obsession. Their whispered stories. The Dragon of Hearts. Timothy breathed, the words leaving his lips as if he had spoken the name of an ancient kami. His voice trembled with awe and fear, turning rigid as if he had stepped into icy mountain river water. Bodak froze mid-movement. The little warriors in his hands halted, suspended in battle. "The dragon hasn't been seen in years," he whispered, his voice dropping into the secretive hush of a storyteller by lantern light. "They say he lives in the Issue Castle. But I don't get it. My brother says it's just one huge cult controlling everything from above." Before Timothy could respond, an ominous sound rose from outside, like a stampede of wooden sandals clattering along temple stone. A crescendo of chaos. Timothy shot to his feet. Bodak bolted from the room, and Timothy followed instinctively. They reached the landing just as Bodak's brother pushed the front door shut. The slam echoed through the house like a gong struck in alarm. He extinguished the lanterns one by one, plunging them into a darkness thick as sumi ink. Bodak pressed a finger to his lips, crouching low. The gesture, sharp, fast, felt like the warning flick of a fox spirit's tail. Timothy mirrored him, heart pounding against his ribs like taiko drums. "That's the city people," Bodak whispered. "They want our land. To build a temple." The bitterness in his voice ran deep, like the roots of an old pine clinging to a cliff. Timothy lowered his head, the weight of the moment sinking into his chest. Bodak's brother began sharpening his blade, each stroke a slow metallic whisper, like a monk sharpening resolve before a final trial. The sound filled the dark room with a haunting rhythm, both protective and ominous. But Timothy's attention drifted, drawn by a faint, unnatural noise from the hall's far end. Something beckoned him with a quiet intensity, pulling him like a lone lantern flickering at the edge of a fog-laden path. He slipped away, each step careful. The wooden floor creaked subtly underfoot like old temple boards remembering footsteps from long ago. At the final door, he hesitated. His hand hovered over the knob. A chill crawled up his spine. But the unseen force tugged again. He twisted the knob. The door groaned open. Inside sat an old woman in a rocking chair, her silhouette carved from shadow. She stared out the window, not watching the chaos, not reacting to the surging mob, but searching the void beyond, as if waiting for a spirit to return from the other side. Her presence was unsettling, like encountering an abandoned shrine in the forest where no shrine should be. Timothy stepped into the room. The air shifted immediately. Then, a violent pull. Darkness surged around her like ghostly ink spilling over parchment. It tugged at him with cold fingers. He stumbled backward, slamming the door shut, collapsing as if the darkness had thrown him. His heart hammered like a frantic sparrow trapped inside a cage. Tear's voice cut through the air, sharp and panicked. "Stay out of that room." "What? What was that?" Timothy gasped, clutching his chest, struggling to breathe evenly. "Don't go in there." Tear's face was rigid, his eyes locked on the door as if expecting it to breathe. Something is wrong with her. Before Timothy could speak, a thunderous bang shook the house, followed by shouts outside. The mob was closing in like a tightening noose. Bodak sprinted up the stairs, footsteps frantic. The remaining children huddled behind Tear, trembling, their fear thickening the air like winter fog rolling across a graveyard. "You can have our home," Bodak shouted, his voice cracking like a bamboo stalk under sudden wind pressure. Tears streamed down his cheeks, each drop sliding past his lips and filling his mouth with a bitter salt of fear and stubborn pride. "We ain't going nowhere. This is my daddy's swamp, and it's going to stay that way, you frog-licking bastards." The room vibrated with tension, like the hush inside a shrine just before a storm sweeps over its torii gates. Timothy rose slowly, lifting his hand, and the chaos at the door fell silent, as if his gesture were a priest's command that made even the kami pause. "I sent everyone back home," Timothy said, his voice low but sharp as a well-forged tanto. "And I wiped their memories of the temple." A cold wind seemed to sweep through the house, though no window was open. His words hung in the air like drifting sakura petals, beautiful, unnatural, and impossible to ignore. "What are you doing, Timothy?" I whispered into his thoughts, my presence sliding through him like a lantern glow beneath rice paper. "You're revealing your power." They have never seen anything like this. Bodak and Tear stared at him with wide, trembling eyes, like villagers glimpsing a fox spirit shifting shape beneath moonlight. "Are you blood of the 55? Tear finally asked, his voice steady but edged with the caution of someone approaching a sleeping dragon. His question floated between us, fragile as a spider's thread. Timothy hesitated, caught on the razor's edge between truth and deception. I could not allow it. A surge of ancient pressure welled up inside me, rising like a tidal wave pulling back before it breaks. I reached for control, and Timothy's eyes turned pale white, shineless, hollow, like the moon reflected in still water. "No," I spoke through him, my voice echoing with the hollow ring of a temple bell struck at midnight. "The boy, Timothy, is merely my chosen. I am Hevron of the deadly eclipse. I must reach issue." Tear dropped to his knees so quickly it was as if gravity had tightened around him. He pulled Bodak down in the same motion. Their foreheads nearly touched the floorboards. "Please, don't hurt us," Tear whispered, trembling like a candle flame before a draft. "Whatever you seek, whatever omen you chase, it isn't here." As he bowed, I felt a pulse stir inside him, an inner current, deep and strong, like an underground river flowing beneath stone. Something old, something meant to awaken. He carried destiny the way a samurai carries a blade, unknowingly, until the moment he must draw it. There is no need to bow, I said. Help me, and I will help you. Ter raised his eyes, meeting mine with the courage of someone who had survived many winters. Hevron. With respect, I cannot take part in another war. The dragons, they were never my burden, never my choice. His gaze lowered once more, like a man returning his prayer slip to the shrine's offering box. If that is your request, he said. I request nothing but passage, I replied, softening my tone like dusk settling over the mountains. I seek not a war. I seek what was stolen from me, and in return, I offer a place among the chosen, a life beyond these muddy fields and cold nights. A life where worry cannot find you. Ter studied me through narrowed eyes, doubt rising off him like mist off a morning river. I don't believe you came here for something as trivial as a pen, he said. You're searching for a person, or a being. And you want me to trade my soul so you can take another. His honesty struck me with the clean sharpness of a calligraphy stroke. I seek my daughter's murderer, I admitted at last. The words fell from Timothy's lips like stones plunging into a deep well, leaving ripples that touched us all. Ter's eyes closed, his breath slowing, the room quieting around him as if listening for the sound of a distant temple gong. You know the pain of losing someone, I continued. So let me have this. You don't need to be my hand, just a single finger pointing the way. You and your brother could live somewhere brighter than this swamp. Somewhere, your grandmother could breathe again. If your father were here, he would tell you to choose what keeps your family alive. Ter rose, spine straightening like a pine enduring winter winds. I know what's best for my family, he said, voice steady. And I think you should leave. Dragon. The word fell heavy and cold, like snow landing on an untouched field. I inclined my head, accepting the refusal with the quiet dignity of retreating from a shrine whose kami will not answer. Then I turned away, releasing my hold over Timothy as I descended the stairs. When he woke inside his own skin again, his fury would likely burn hot, but there was no time for that now. We had found issue. That alone loosened the knot in my chest. But another fear coiled in its place. Sug, who had been raised with hatred fed to him like bitter tea. Sug, whose father had carved his worldview with the cold precision of a swordsmith. Sug, who believed the Issue royal family imprisoned the Dragon of Heart, and who saw vengeance as destiny, not choice. His steps toward the castle would echo like the footfalls of a ghost bound to an old grudge. He moved through the world not as a man, but as a storm waiting for its mountain. Timothy, on the other hand. He moved like a sunrise, uncertain, trembling, but capable of changing everything. And as their paths drew toward Issue, I felt the threads of fate tighten like the strings of a koto. Whether they would form harmony, or snap into chaos, remained hidden behind the next turning of destiny.